In today's movie review, I'll be watching the supernatural comedy Good Fortune, which is directed, written, produced and starring Aziz Ansari, and also stars Seth Rogen, Kate Palmer, Sandra Oh and Keanu Reeves. Here's the plot. Down on his luck worker Arj gets an unexpected visit from Gabriel, a clumsy guardian angel who lets him swap lives with his wealthy boss Jeff, to teach him that money can't buy happiness. But when Arj refuses to switch back and Gabriel loses control of his plan, chaos erupts, forcing everyone to confront what good fortune really means. Now this is Aziz Ansari's directorial debut after the controversial suspension of his previous directorial debut, which was cancelled in 2022. It was apparently something to do with Bill Murray's behaviour on set of that film. I don't know anything about it, maybe you do, let me know in the comments below. Production of this film went viral when images circulated of Keanu Reeves on set nursing a knee injury. He had his knee strapped up and he was wearing crutches. And people weren't sure if this was like part of the movie role or if he'd actually sustained a real injury. Turns out he did sustain a real injury. He tripped over the rug in his trailer and smashed his knee and fractured it. And he was on the crutches for a few days, but after that, he did actually film the majority of his scenes still with that injury. Excitement level is very low. I've seen the trailer, I wasn't really impressed by it, it just sort of washed over me. This is not sort of a film I'd normally watch. This wouldn't really be my kind of movie, but I'm going to give it a go, we'll see what it's like. I'm not that familiar with Aziz Ansari's previous work as an actor, and Seth Rogen is not really the biggest of draws for me when it comes to actors. I mean, I did like him when he provided the voice of the alien in Paul. That was really awesome, I loved that. And the last film I saw him in was a film called Dumb Money, which was about 2 years ago, and I honestly can't remember if I liked that film or I didn't like it. Have you seen that film? Once again, let me know in the comments below, was that a good movie? Just about to head in. Guys, I always say this, but I've got to keep saying it. If you do enjoy the videos, do press like, and of course, do please press subscribe. You won't believe it, it does actually really help out the channel. The more followers, the more encouragement I get to keep making these videos for you. So now I'm going to go in, watch the movie, and I'll let you know my thoughts afterwards. So the movie's just finished, so I'm going to go over the highlights and then the hang-ups, starting with the highlights. Okay, so going over the positives of the film first, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to struggle to find some, but starting off, I think the performances in the movie were actually quite good. All the actors, or the main three of Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves, I all felt they gave a committed performance. They had enough screen presence so that you would watch them from start to finish. And I also thought the film was shot quite well. When we saw the rich people's lives, it was all quite vibrant, bright colours, and when we saw the poorer people in the film, it was quite a dark and moody palette to it. So I thought that was all quite well done, and I liked the setting of LA. I thought Keanu Reeves' performance as the angel was not bad actually. He did play the cluelessness of his character quite well, and some of the jokes that he did I quite liked. And that probably goes the same thing for the other main cast members. They did have some jokes in there that did make me laugh. Some of the humour that was told was okay, was quite good in places. The supporting cast in the film was also quite good. Palmer's character, who played the love interest, I thought she was probably one of the standouts, and there were a couple of other people in the film in like minor roles that actually did make me sort of laugh out loud at times. Hang-ups. Okay, so obviously there was quite a lot I didn't like about the film. Surprisingly, even though this film is actually quite short, something like about, I don't know, 90, 97 minutes, it was something like that. This film felt really quite long, and by the end of it, I was really kind of checked out and just waiting for it to end. One of the big problems this film has is it doesn't know who its central character is. In fact, it has three central characters who are the main three cast members I already mentioned, of Aziz, of Seth and Keanu. I thought it was going to be Aziz's film, but it's really quite a shared role, and because of it, sometimes the other characters kind of like just blink out of existence and then just sort of come back into it randomly. I felt like they should have focused more on Aziz's story, but three of them was at the detriment of the other two. We didn't spend enough time with each character, we didn't get to know enough about their lifestyle and to really feel their pain of their situation. Take Aziz's character, for example. You know, you didn't see enough of his struggle before he then took on the life of a rich guy. I never bought him as the poor guy, and that was a big problem for me. I felt the messaging in this film was very, very heavy-handed. I don't remember a movie I watched in a good while where the messages are so overt, so in your face, like it's an adult teaching preschool. That's how it came across. Now, although each of the three characters went on some sort of an arc, you never really bought their motivations as to why they would switch. Take Aziz's character, for example. At the end of the movie, it said that he has to want to go back to his previous life the way it is. But you never bought that switch. They never give you a good enough reason for him for you to believe that he'd actually want to go back to that lifestyle. And the funny thing is, they kind of had something there in which to use, and they didn't. And that is Palmer's character as the love interest. They could have focused more on that as that being Aziz's reason for actually wanting to go back to the way his life was. But they didn't really make a focus of that. Sorry, just saw the light switch off there in the background. They're closing up. I have to say, a lot of the comedy did not land for me. They were telling quite obvious jokes. Some of them were trying a little bit too hard. I did cite Keanu Reeves' character as, some of the jokes in that being quite funny, but so many of them felt very, very forced. And they kind of preyed upon the fact that, oh, look, we've got Keanu Reeves in this movie and he's been playing so many serious roles like John Wick. And look, now we're putting him in this situation. Look, he's in an ice bath. Isn't that funny? It's kind of like that. And for me, that just didn't really work. I think most of the humour in this film is kind of more rather than laugh out loud. I mean, there were a couple of moments that did make me laugh like that. There were moments, but they were few and far between. There were long stretches of this film where I didn't laugh, and for what is supposed to be a comedy, that's a big, big problem. Another thing with Aziz's character is he's not very likeable, dare I say relatable either, because I didn't really buy him as a poor guy, and they didn't really spend long enough on that you never bought that change, and so you didn't really go along with his struggle. Final rating. Overall, I do feel this film was really quite poor. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It did sort of keep my attention somewhat to the end, but I was getting really bored by the end. In fact, as I said, the film's not that long. It's only about an hour and a half, but it felt like about a 2-hour plus film. And that's because you just didn't care about the characters, you didn't care about what was going on, the messaging was very heavy-handed, and it wasn't that funny. And it's a film where we have two people's body swaps, them swapping their situations out. We've seen this in a million other films, and we've seen it done far better, and far funnier as well. I'm going to have to give this film 2 stars. But do keep in mind, I did say at the very beginning of this film that this probably wasn't going to be my type of film. I'm sure there are people out there that probably would actually enjoy this. So if you do get to see it, or if you have already watched it, let me know in the comments below, is this a film you enjoyed or not enjoyed? I'd be really, really, really curious to know. So if you did enjoy today's video, do leave us a like and subscribe. It really does help us out. And of course, you can check out my other playlists, which include movie reviews, movie rankings, movie locations, and movie attractions. I want to thank you again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.